Greetings and salutations, family. It is me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boxing Community. Shout out to the Louisiana All American Sports Network. Shout out to M Vision Photography and Video. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. This is season 1, episode 11 of the Tailgate Party. So this is the latest edition of the Tailgate Party. We getting ready to crank it off. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Jedig. Okay. All right, we done got it cranked up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So let's get the description and then let's look at the chat. After a tough 43-35 home loss to FAMU, the Southern University Jaguars are now 1-7 and searching for answers under interim head coach Fred McNair. In this episode of the Tailgate Party, season 1, episode 11, we break down Southern's upcoming SWAC showdown. Southern University versus the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, a UAPB. Can the Jaguars finally pick up their second win of the season? What adjustments does Coach McNair need to make on offense and defense after the FAMU loss? We discuss key players, game predictions, and what Southern fans should expect heading into this matchup. And of course, the offense was a whole lot better. The defense is hot garbage. But we're going to talk about all that in this episode of the Tailgate Party. Let's look at the chat. Let's see who we got in the building. Let's see what we got. Okay. All right, we got motivation to be a millionaire. He said, salute, coach, chat, Jaguar Nation, and HBCU family. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Man, I appreciate you. He said, I'm convinced now more than ever that Joe Taylor should be the next head football coach at Southern. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, even if they don't hire him, I mean, I'm definitely good with him. You know what I'm saying? Big time. Uh, in fact, hold on. Okay. Had a few technical issues, you know what I'm saying? But we back in the building. All right. Uh, let's start from the top. Motivation to be a millionaire. Salute, coach. Chat, Jaguar Nation, the HBCU family. Salute to your fam. He said, please subscribe to the channel if you ever. I appreciate you. Motivation to be a millionaire. Said, I'm convinced now more than ever that Joe Taylor should be the next head football coach at Southern. I'm in agreement. If they don't hire him, as long as they get a great candidate, the main thing I want is for Southern to get back to where Southern used to be in those golden years, in that golden era of the 90s. And not only that, not only be SWAC West good, not only be SWAC good, not only be HBCU dominant, not only win the Celebration Bowl, but to be a dominant FCS team. That's what I want for Southern University. And then he put Go Jags, uh, relax and calm rain, say salute Coach 67, chat, Jaguar Nation, and HBCU family. Salute to your fam. He said, let's get Coach over 1,000 subs as soon as possible. I appreciate you. He put Go Jags. Salute to your boy Jay. Go Jags. He said, we haven't lost the Pine Bluff since 2011. And that's when the infamous fight happened after the game. Yeah, unfortunately. And truthfully speaking, if Southern loses to UAPB, just kind of like Southern losing the Bethune-Cookman, like, bro, it'll be bad on so many levels. So, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. If they don't win this game Saturday, I don't see another win this season, but we'll see. Kendrick Wicker, 82-28, salute to you. He said on offense, change a quarterback, and defense, keep them off the field and create turnovers. Yeah. We gonna talk about that. In fact, real quick, let me just kind of go over a couple things. First and foremost, I was talking to someone, and she was like, "Coach, like, you know, she really don't. She kind of keep abreast of what's going on, but she really don't follow too closely. She really not a big football person." And she was like, "Man, why y'all got rid of Terrence Graves and whoop the woo? Y'all could have let him finish the season." And you know, I said, "Well, the issue with Terrence Graves is because I said the reason why they fired Terrence Graves was because Terrence Graves is like a politician." And she was like, "What you mean?" I'm like, she really don't like Trump. I'm like, it's kind of like a politician telling you what you want to hear, then turn around and doing what they feel like doing. And she was like, "What you mean?" So I said, uh, this guy was the offensive coordinator named Mark Frederick. He was a bad offensive coordinator. And everybody was talking about how bad the offense was. So he said that he made the quarterback coach the co-offensive coordinator, and the co-offensive coordinator was calling all the plays. And she was like, "Okay, what's the issue with that?" I said, "The issue is the guy that he said wasn't calling plays no more kept calling the plays, and he lied about it." And she was like, "What?" She said, "Oh, yeah, if he did that, he needed to be fired." I said, "Well, I said, he already found another job at a bigger school. But the point I'm trying to make is, you're going to bat for him." But she was like, "Oh, yeah." She said, "If he did that, yeah, it was time for him to get it. It was time for y'all to get him out of here." I said, "Well, I'm glad uh, you approve of it." But I'm like, that's what it was. I said, too many times I feel like after games and press conferences and things of that nature, he always said the right things, but his actions and his words never were in alignment. Your boy J.C. McNair confirmed Ashton is a starter for the rest of the season. So I don't know how that's going to go. His IQ isn't good enough yet. Not at all. I mean, for it to be 4 down on your last offensive possession, and for you to throw the ball away on 4 down, like, what are we doing, bro? And I'm not gonna lie, like, when it comes to him, I mean, he's clearly a better option than Cameron McCoy, but like his football IQ is low. Like my coaching friends, he's what we would call a two-read quarterback. What I mean by that is, if you take away his first couple of reads, he can't make it through his progression. Brian Lee pointed this out like a few weeks back. He was saying that Southern quarterbacks struggle to read the right side of the field. So I don't know when they when they run their plays, when they go through their progression, if they go from like right to left or left to right or however. But that from my coach's eye, that's what I see. If you give him like his first couple reads, he good. But if he actually has to go completely through his progression, that's when he gets antsy and he's indecisive. That's why he don't know whether to take off and run. If he holds it, he tries to go down the field deep when nothing is open. And that's why you have a situation where it's like it's 3rd and 10, and he finally see the crossing route come open at about 3 yards, or it's 3rd and 15, and he hits the 5-yard drag route or the 5-yard crossing route. I'm not trying to like put him down, but his football IQ is low. You know what I'm saying? So, and you have to kind of be aware of down the distance. A couple weeks ago for homecoming, I was playing Madden with my nephew, and as a coach, playing a video game, talking to my nephew, like I was up, the score was tied, and they had like a minute left in the game, so I had a long play, and instead of me scoring a touchdown, I I didn't score. I said, "I'm gonna milk the clock," and I didn't realize I used all 3 of my timeouts, and I let the clock tick away. So I just had enough play for I had enough time just for one play. So I snapped the ball. He went like goal line. So I snapped the ball and tried to pass it, but he didn't get it off quick enough before he got sacked. And the game went to overtime and he ended up winning. So that's cool for me to do that when we just playing a video game, playing Madden. But in real life, how you lose track of down and distance? Like, it is insane to me that this dude actually lost track of down and distance in a real life game. Like, my middle school quarterbacks didn't even do nothing like this. Dude, you are a college quarterback. Like, how could you lose track of down and distance in the game? And that's the crazy part about it. On second down, he could have run and got the first down. He didn't. Throw the ball away on third down, throw the ball away on fourth down. And it was fourth down. He didn't realize it was fourth down when he threw the ball away. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing? So, hopefully Coach McNair is working with him. But I'm not going to lie, like, hey, I mean, his football IQ is definitely real low. I'm not going to lie on it. Your boy J.C. Graves and Dooley are like, they both lied to the media and somehow kept a straight face when lying. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That is a excellent point. You know what I'm saying? So, that's the Graves thing, right? Another thing I kind of caught heat for. I'm not gonna say heat, but a couple people like debated me in the chats, in the chat, in the comment section, and a couple people debated me like in real time, talking about, basically I made a comment that Trey Holly is the only dynamic player, the only explosive player on Southern University's offense. And a couple of people took offense to it. And I'm going to be honest with you. Whether people agree or disagree, I'm standing on it. Like, offensively, I'm talking about on a consistent basis, Trey Holly is the only explosive, dynamic player on Southern University's offense. Now, a couple of people in the chat and in the comment section was saying that, hey, that Kobe Brown, a couple of people behind the scenes said Malachi Jackson and Kobe Brown, in terms of the wide receiving core, is the two people that a lot of people was like, man, coach, like, the quarterback play is terrible. And basically the quarterback play is terrible. And in addition to that, not only quarterback play is terrible, but, basically Kobe Brown and Malachi Jackson don't get enough opportunities to touch the ball. And basically, that's the reason why you don't see how good this wide receiving core really is. And as an actual, like, middle school coach, I'm going to just be honest with you. No, Kendrick Wicker, he's not a true freshman. He's a junior. That's the thing about it. He's not even a true freshman. He's a junior. I mean, he threw the ball away on fourth down. I mean, he might be a true freshman in terms of the amount of playing time and experience he has. But in terms of, like, his classification, he's a junior. So he's not a true freshman. So that's the issue with this whole situation that's baffling when it comes to him to me. Like, dude, you're not a true freshman. You know what I'm saying? And salute to to ASDF 1234568. He said Alonzo Hampton cannot lose this game. Well, basically, we saying the same thing about Fred McNair. Fred McNair cannot lose this game either. But I mean, he would have to basically run the table. I think if he ran the table, they'll try to make him the long-term interim coach or take the interim title off him. But at this point, I think Southern needs to go in a different direction. Man, what's up, Kirk Martin? 5261, salute to you. He said, I don't know why my username is showing like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes YouTube funny when it comes to that type of thing, you know what I'm saying? But back to what I was saying about the wide receiving core, people basically, they went to bat for Kobe Brown and Malachi Sticks Jackson. And like I said, I don't have anything against him, but if I had to keep maybe about 5-6 players from this team, man, hey, first it'll be Trey Holly. Well, that's the thing about that's another thing that aggravates me about this team. Like, people don't realize the amount of seniors that Southern has on this team. When I'm talking about people like Kelby Givens and Zach Yassine and Horatio Johnson and Darren Morris. Like Southern has seniors all up and down this roster. And for them to be like such a bad team, especially defensively, it's like, man, this team is terrible in terms of, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I'm gonna get to that. But they basically, when I say the only dynamic, explosive player on Southern University's offense is Trey Holly. People took offense to it. And like I said, let's be honest. Like a few years ago, when the wide receiving core was August Peacher III and Cassius Allen and Jalen Howard, Chandler Whitfield was probably maybe about your fourth receiver, and Darren Morris was about your fifth receiver. And truthfully speaking, you can see with that wide receiving core, especially when it came to somebody like August Peacher III, that he was clear-cut the number one receiver. When it came down to like the number 2 and 3 receiver, at times Cassius Allen was like the number 2 receiver. At times Jalen Howard was like the number 2 receiver. I think Cassius Allen, he was good at 50-50 balls when you're throwing 50-50 balls. And not only that, he was good with the crossing routes. Jalen Howard was good for taking the top off the defense and just throwing in like a go route just up the sideline. And Chandler Whitfield and Darren Morris, they kind of was like, good receivers too in their role. And constantly, that wide receiving core, they created separation between them and the defensive back. And in addition to them creating separation, like you could see that Harold Blood just was not a good quarterback. And that's the bottom line. And that's the truth of it. But with this receiving core, like I said, I think even if you kept Kobe Brown and Malachi Jackson, if you had a good wide receiving core, they might be your fourth and fifth best receiver. If you had to take them and transport them to the 90s, man, that's the reason why I say this wide receiving core is mid at best, probably more accurately mediocre. Even the long play they had Saturday night, instead of the other wide receiver blocking, if he throws one block, he scores a touchdown. But he literally if he would have at least got the defensive back way and prevented him from making a tackle, cool. He got out the way and his other receiver got tackled. It's like, man, what are we doing? Like, I know most wide receivers don't block, but God dog, bro, like, what are we doing? So at the end of the day, man, I'm going to keep it a buck. I think, Kobe Brown, I'm from Assumption Parish. I got family that live in St. James. They used to rave about him. And I ain't gonna lie, I think he was, at St. James, he was a dynamic wide receiver. But I think here at Southern, I think at best he probably looked like on a championship caliber team in the 90s at best. I'm not gonna lie, him and Malachi Jackson, they probably don't, especially like in the 90s when you got wide receivers like Mike Hayes and Devin Lewis. Man, I ain't gonna lie, them guys would probably have a hard time seeing the field. And if they did, like I said, they'll probably be a fourth and fifth wide receiver from 93 to like 99, because Southern had like some hella fire wide receiving cores over the years. So for people to talk like Southern University wide receiving core is phenomenal, just ask yourself this question. What other teams in the SWAC, like would Jackson State be beating on the door to get any of Southern University's wide receivers? Would Alabama State be beating on the door to get any Southern University's wide receiver? Like, just be honest. And I'm not talking about what they did in high school. I'm talking about what I see on the field week in and week out. I think in some instances, when it comes to certain players, people like fantasize what this player was, especially when they were in high school. They're not being used properly, this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, watching them week in and week out, especially the offensive line play is mid. A lot of these offensive linemen that's currently on the roster, man, they wouldn't even make the team in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Even if they did make the team, hey, they definitely wouldn't have been playing. They wouldn't have saw the field. So at the end of the day, it's not me putting them down. It's just me giving my honest assessment. And on top of the defense, this defense is terrible. This defense is mediocre. They can't stop a nosebleed. They can't tackle whatsoever. Like, the tackling is horrible. They take terrible pursuit angles. It's like, come on, man. Like, how many bad pursuit angles can you take on one play to allow a wide receiver to get a way bigger play than he should have got and almost score a touchdown, or for a running back just to run up the middle on 3rd and 5, they run a draw, and he run like 50-some yards untouched up the middle. It's like, come on, man, how many bad pursuit angles can you take on one play? So the tackling is terrible. The defense, man, I'm not gonna lie, this is the worst Southern University defense I've seen in my entire life. As good as I talk about how good the 93 Dog Day defense was, truthfully speaking, this defense is that bad in the opposite direction. If that defense was that good, this defense is that bad. I don't think they can stop nobody in this way. And truthfully speaking, we talking about how UAPB ain't beat Southern since 2011. I mean, they hadn't beat Southern since 2011. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. The offense is much improved. Like, you can see a noticeable difference between Fred McNair's play calling as opposed to Mark Frederick's play calling. The offense was much better, and you could see the difference. Like, the offense was noticeably better. But the problem is the inconsistency at the quarterback position. At times, Ashton Strada, he's decent. And like I said, if you could get him a 1 read, 2 reads, I think he's good. But if he has to think and process information, I mean, even in terms of his passes, like, they were wildly inconsistent. Like, one play, I think he hit, if I'm not mistaken, either Malachi Jackson or Darren Morris, Kobe Brown. He hit one of them on a crossing route. Like, it was a good play. Another play, he throw a pass to Dupree Fuller, and it just was so high. I'm like, bro, who you think you're throwing to LeBron? So it's like, come on, man. It's like, when it came to his passes, he was wildly inconsistent. If he could get his first or second read, if he could hit them on the pass, he was good. But if he had to go through his progression, he was inconsistent, indecisive in terms of his decision making. There were instances where he should have took off and run. He didn't. He threw the last possession that you have offensively. He throws the ball away on 4th down. So at the end of the day, like, I mean, this Southern team at least offensively they played well, but in terms of special teams, still mid to mediocre. Defense is terrible. And I'm not going to lie, like, it's hard for me to see them beating UAPB on Saturday, but, but one thing I will point out, I'm not going to lie, I said this, some people might think it's a stretch. Like, this is my honest assessment. I've seen so many Southern University running backs over the years. We talking about, Melvin Williams Jr., Lindsey Scott Sr., Lenard Tillery, Steve Warford, Victor Ike, Jermaine Sharp, Lonnie Nicholas, my guy Kendrick Grimes, Kobe Dillon, Carl Igon. I've seen so many Southern University running backs over the years. I mean, all of these guys in my mind are dogs. When you talk about Lenard Tillery was a dog, Melvin Williams Jr., Kendrick Grimes, Lindsey Scott Sr., I always thought Steve Wolf was overrated. And I could just kind of go on and on and on and on and go down the list. Out of all those running backs, even as good as somebody like Jermaine Sharp was, even somebody like Victor Ike, truthfully speaking, I'm not even going to lie. I think Trey Holly not from a production standpoint, because he's not going to be at Southern long enough to surpass Melvin Williams Jr. He's not going to be at Southern long enough to surpass Steve Warford or Lenard Tillery. He's not going to be at Southern Allen, but strictly from a talent standpoint, he's the best running back I've ever seen come through Southern University. I mean, if you could take him and put him with, like, if he played on a team where they had, like, the 93 Dog Day defense and some of the offensive lines of the 90s, and a productive quarterback like maybe like an Eric Randall or Bryant Lee or Dre Joseph, or Austin Howard. Oh my goodness. If you compare him with one of those quarterbacks, even like a Sam George or Terrence Lee, if you compare him with some of the wide receiving cores that Southern had in the 90s, some of the offensive lines, some of the quarterbacks, and some of the defenses, man, I'm not gonna lie, this boy would be all world. Oh my goodness. But the sad thing about it is the offensive line, I think they played better on Saturday night, but it's nowhere near where it is it's nowhere near where it's been in the past. For one, the defense, oh my goodness, the defense. I can't emphasize how bad Southern's defense was. Like, you really can't quantify it. I mean, technically, you can quantify it by looking at the amount of yardage they gave up, the amount of points they gave up. But truthfully speaking, even with that being said, even if you talk about the amount of yards they gave up, it still really wouldn't, in my mind, quantify how bad they really are. Like, this is the worst Southern University defense I've seen in my life. Oh, my goodness. Y'all can't tackle. Y'all don't take the ball away. Y'all can't stop a nosebleed. Y'all can't get off the field on third down. Like I say, I've seen like a few plays on Saturday. It's like, oh, my goodness. How many bad pursuit angles in terms of trying to make a tackle can you make on one play? Like, I mean, for a guy on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, for the opposing team to run a draw to the tailback, and for him to run 50-some yards up the middle untouched, for a wide receiver to run a crossing route and catch it, and every defensive back take the worst possible angle they could take and let this guy get all the way down the field. It's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? So at the end of the day, clearly, I think Coach McNair, he's done a good job fixing the offense. He's gotten a lot more out of his offense than Mark Frederick could dream of. However, there's nothing he could do to fix Henry Miller's defense because, like I say, these guys, they don't tackle well. And we talk about, from an offensive standpoint, like Ashton Strouder's football IQ is low. A lot of these defensive players have low football IQs too. I'm just gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? And some of the mistakes they make, like some of these guys are seniors. Like, I'm just kind of give you an example. I know people gonna be like, man, coach, you're beating a dead horse. I brought this up a few weeks back. But when you're playing against Jackson State, Zach Eustine is a senior. This dude is a senior. His helmet is knocked off. Instead of him just stopping, this dude's still trying to go full throttle to tackle Jacoby and Morgan. It's like, bro, what are we doing? Like, come on, man. Like, you cannot, you're a senior. You got to know better than this, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's things like that. And, I mean, like I say, I mean, the poor pursuit angles to make a tackle, it's like, come on, man. Like, you understand if this guy went up the sideline, you can't run directly behind him to tackle him. You got to take a proper angle to catch him. And it's like they don't understand these basic, simple things. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's nothing they could do to fix this defense. And at the end of the day, you know, I mean, it kind of is what it is. Let me jump back in the chat. He said, I mean, technically beat y'all in 2021. Yeah, I'll grant you that. In fact, no, let me go back. Let me go further back up. Your boy J said Fred ain't getting his job no matter what he do. The second the clock hits 0 at the Bayou Classic, a new coach will be named. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. Honestly, your boy Jay, I don't see this team winning another game. If they're lucky, they'll win Saturday. I definitely don't see them beating Texas Southern. I don't see them beating Alcorn. And I don't see them beating Grambling. He said, poor Fred McNair. He may have to go to D2 for a head coaching job. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it looks that way, unfortunately. And I mean, that's the thing about it. He's a good coach, but I mean, Southern has already tried all of these SWAC retreads. You know, I think it'll be better for him to get a fresh start somewhere else where he could be the guy, you know. Your boy just said, I would say we should have done what LSU did. And as far as the coordinators too, just completely move on from both of them. I agree with you because I'm not gonna lie. Henry Miller really got exposed this season. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we talked about how good, and that's crazy how you can have a good defense like 3 years in a row, and not for you to roll on the roll on the hill or roll on the mountain, but for you to completely drop off the cliff defensively. It's like, come on, man, what are we doing, bro? Like, how could you go from being a decent to good defense just to being terrible, bro? It's like, it's insane to me. And like I was saying, you were saying earlier, I mean, technically, we beat y'all in 2021. Like I said, I'll give you that. Your boy Jay said Mark Fredericks got in front of the media countless times saying he takes what the defense gives him. That gotta be the biggest lie I've ever seen. Yeah, for real. All them times he tried to run inside zone, and when the opposing team is just loaded up to stop it, it's like, bro, come on, man. Shut up, bro. Your boy just said, I honestly think it depends on what coach we hire. He said, if we hire the right coach, I think Holly stays for another year or two. He's definitely leaving before his senior year, though. Well, the way that, people have been talking behind the scenes, I think they say this in a couple other HBCU content spaces. I think Perry White said it when him and Scotty was talking. Basically, some guy called in and basically was saying that Troy Holly tried to redshirt this season. So honestly, I think the moment the season is over and all of his charges are dropped, he's in the transfer portal. And somebody has an NIL bag waiting on him. How big the bag is, I think that's the big question for one. Second of all, like, I know they say they dropped like one or two of the charges or whatever, but, does he still have pending felony charges? That's the thing. So if his charges if he still has charges hanging over him like felony charges, I think that might affect whether he can jump into the portal. But I think if all the charges are dropped by Bayou Classic weekend, like you said, soon as the clock strikes zero, he hitting the portal. Point blank, bottom line, period. Taylor Gadsden, 97-21. He said depends on who LSU hire to, if they keep Frank Wilson. He loved Trey, and Trey probably go wherever he go. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see LSU hiring a black head coach. I think it's good in terms of from an interim perspective. See, for Southern, we really can't say, a lot of people has been saying Joe Taylor lately. One person told me Henry Frazier III recently. I'm like, nah. I think Henry Frazier III, he did an excellent job taking PV from the bottom to winning the SWAC. But I don't want nobody to been through the SWAC in terms of like SWAC lifers or SWAC head coaches. I mean, I would take, and I know some people are gonna be like it's contradictory. I would take Trey Oliver, Chennis Berry, but they've never been head coaches in the SWAC though. But like I said, at this point, especially when you consider how much he's making, I definitely would take Joe Taylor. But truthfully speaking, when it comes to LSU wants Joe Brady, in my personal opinion. People have been throwing other coaches in the mix. I think they really want Joe Brady, if you ask me. If they don't take Joe Brady, I'll say maybe they get John Summerall. But to me, I think that's the two top candidates for LSU. John Summerall and Joe Brady. Probably Joe Brady. But knowing Joe Brady, he might stay with the Bills in the NFL. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I definitely don't see, even if they ran the table, I don't see them hiring Frank Wilson. I mean, just think about it. LSU really don't want, if they had their choice between a black quarterback and a white quarterback, they want the black athlete. They really don't want the black quarterback. They're definitely not gonna hire no black head coach. I mean, unless he was just a phenom. I don't see it happening. You know what I'm saying? He said his trial in April, though, and it's only one transfer portal window. So he might stay next year. Well, I think if he does stay, I think that'll be the only thing that really keep him at Southern. But I'm gonna be honest with you. He done his thing. If especially if you put him behind some of the offensive lines of the 90s and you pair him with a quarterback like an Eric Randall or Quincy Richard the senior year or Bryant Lee, Austin Howard or Trey Joseph, and some of them like the 93 Dog Day defense, 90, 95, 97, man, I'm not gonna lie, he'll be all world in the SWAC. Your boy JC went in the West twice in the last 4 years, made this staff complacent with being mediocre. They felt like they didn't need to recruit heavy because we was winning a bad Western Division. I'll agree with you 100%, your boy G, because from a recruiting standpoint, man, I'm not gonna lie. This team is not well constructed in terms of the roster. And Terrence Graves and his staff, they did a terrible job recruiting. No two ways about it. Kendrick Wicker, 88-28, say they tackle too high. Oh, they definitely. I'm not gonna lie when it comes to just form tackling. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I know like the NCAA has changed rules over the years, and they don't get to practice as much, and they don't have as many padded practice and so on and so forth, whatever. But man, their tackling is terrible. Like they have terrible technique. So, Kendrick Wicker, 88-28, he said he fixed the offense. So SU was 4th and 4 twice, and he selected to punt. They was down. No, I pointed this out. I pointed this out Saturday night. Your defense cannot stop a nosebleed. When I say they can't stop a nosebleed, they can't stop a nosebleed. So, from a game management standpoint, that's the thing that got me, Kendrick Wicker, is the fact that the score is 29-28 in favor of FAMU. It was 4th and 1 at first. When Southern was down by 1 point, it was 4th and 1. Because at first it was like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and he ran the ball with Trey Holly, and Trey Holly came up 1 yard short. If you have a good defense, you can afford to be conservative. Your defense can't stop a nosebleed. So why are you punting the ball? He punted the ball. FAMU scored. Now you're down by 8. The same situation. It's like you said, 4th and 3, 4th and 4. He punted the ball again, and FAMU scored again. I'm thinking to myself, Fred McNair, what the F are you doing? So I'm not gonna lie. The offense was improved. The defense was terrible. But from a game management standpoint, Kendrick Wicker, that was bad. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't speak for nobody else. I had already made up in my mind, no matter what he did, I wouldn't have wanted him to be the head coach of Southern. But once I saw that in the 4th quarter, that was it for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely off of the Fred McNair being the next head football coach at Southern bandwagon. I mean, salute to my brother Brent Fox. He was like, man, why don't you just give him a chance? And I'm like, no. And after the game, in my post-game reaction, he said, my bad, brother. He said, I said I was on the outside looking in, but I guess he didn't understand the full scope of what we were talking about. And not only that, but the fact that even though I know he did good things at Alcorn, I'm not knocking it. But in my mind, you're attached to this Terrence Graves debacle, this Terrence Graves fiasco. You're attached to that. So I don't want anything attached to it. That's why I said, in terms of the roster, max, I keep 5 players. Like I said, Trey Holly, one of them. Of course, you can't keep Kelby Givens. Kelby Givens is a senior. You know what I'm saying? You got maybe like the one offensive lineman. Definitely keep Horatio Johnson. Like there were a few players I named. I can't think of them right off the top of my head. But outside of them players, man, I'm not keeping nobody on this roster because whether we talking about Fred McNair, whether we talking about players on the team, all of this is attached to a team that's historically bad. So guess what? I would want the quarterbacks, if somebody told me like, hey, Ashton Stroud is improving. No, I don't want him. Like this team is historically bad. I mean, this the what worst record Southern had in over 50 years or whatever it was. Man, come on, bro. Like, no, I don't want nobody attached to this. You know what I'm saying? And your boy Jay said, yeah, seeing McNair punt the ball late in the fourth quarter, trusting the defense who couldn't stop a park call all season, told me he can't be the head coach. Yeah, that's what I'm saying from your boy Jay and Kendrick Wicker, 88-28. From a game management standpoint, that was terrible. You cannot, if your defense can't stop nobody, and you are down by 1 point, this is what you do. You say, all right, hey, it's 4th and 1, I'm going for it. You go for it, and even if they stop you, truthfully speaking, your defense, even if you gave them a short field, you're not going to stop them anyway. So what difference does it make? You go for it. You trust your offense because I said this all season long. The 3 phases of the game, Southern has been bad most of the season. But from a talent standpoint, you can see that the offensive side of the ball has more talent than the other 2 phases. So in a clutch, if the game is in a balance, is on the line, what phase of the ball do I want to have the ball? I want the offense to have the ball. I'm not going to trust my defense in that scenario. Your defense showed you they can't stop nobody. So why are you going to put your defense back out on the field and trust them? Hey, y'all go get us the ball back and y'all get us a stop. No, I'm not doing that. Even if it came out of special teams, I wouldn't trust my special teams. I'm not going to trust my special teams. I'm not going to trust my defense. I'm going to put it in my offense. I'm going to put it on my offense. Offense, come on, y'all go get the job done. It's 4th and 1. We could pick up 1 yard. Come on, man. Like I say, from a game management standpoint, he lost me on that play. I'm unapologetic about that position, that stance, and that statement. If it's 4th and 1, man, I don't care if you're on the minus side of the field. If your defense showed you they hadn't stopped anybody all game, and I'm not putting my defense in that scenario. You know what I'm saying? Hey, either I wouldn't say I'm just gonna hand it to Trey Holland because guess what? The defense know that's what you're trying to do too. So I hate to say it, maybe Ashton Stroud in that situation, maybe throw a swing pass to Holly or something. But I'm not trusting my defense in that scenario. And that's, like I said, that's what he lost me on Saturday night. And that's the sad part about the whole situation. I really, truly think Fred McNair is a good coach. And the irony is, what would he have done? Tell me what he would have done had he been a head coach from the outset, instead of this Terrence Graves debacle fiasco. I'm not saying Southern will be the SWAC champions, but I think, in my honest, humble, personal opinion, I think they would be in a much better situation than they're in. But the fact that, he overplayed his hand and he tried to leverage Alcorn and Texas Southern against each other, and it didn't work out in his favor. And from a timing standpoint, it was bad. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, that's the hand you dealt. So, it's not really, it is what it is. So had they had it from the beginning, I think Southern would be in a much better spot, because I'm not going to lie, Terrence Graves, in my personal opinion, he wasn't never really fit to be a head coach. I say this all the time. I'm just going to use since I'm in the LDBC, I'm going to use a boxing analogy. I kind of feel like he is a sparring partner that got a chance to fight for the world championship. It's like, dude, you fighting for the Ring Magazine undisputed champion in your weight class, in your division, but at best you're a sparring partner. You are not a head football coach, in my personal opinion. So, that's my stance on it. So that's the biggest takeaways. I talked about the Terrence Graves, the reason why he really legitimately got fired. And, I didn't even know, and people was telling me the same thing. It was like, hey, we didn't know that Mark Frederick was still calling plays after he said that he made Fred McNair the co-offensive coordinator. So I didn't know it. Coach Kevin Walker said it in the comment section. And, salute to the diehard members of Jaguar Nation, like, Coach Kevin Walker and Chuck Fontenot and everybody sit in our section that, the diehard members of Jaguar Nation that's, at the game no matter what, you know what I'm saying? Salute to all of them people. And so I talked about grades. I talked about the pushback in terms of the wide receivers. I talked about how trash the defense is. I talked about the improvements on the offense. And I talked about, I think in my personal opinion, Trey Holly is the best Southern University running back. The best running back I've seen come through Southern University in my lifetime. So that's that. In terms of the actual game coming up Saturday, I'm not going to even lie. I'm going to be honest with you. Southern got to go to UAPB. And I don't think I picked Southern to win a game since maybe what? Maybe homecoming, maybe. I didn't know I picked them to win home. I think the last game I picked them to win was Jackson State, I think. I'm not making that mistake again, truthfully speaking. I mean, theoretically speaking, you would think Southern could go on the road and beat UAPB. And I don't have no confidence in the Southern team. I really don't see it happening. I mean, you can even look at the chat, look at the comment section. At the beginning of the season, like, man, hey, it was pumping. But at this point, Southern is losing big time. Southern is 1-7, historically bad. And I mean, truthfully speaking, people think like Valley is better than this Southern team. And most people I talk to think UAPB gonna win. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of in that majority. I really can't see Southern going on the road with a defense this bad. I mean, just an absolutely awful, terrible defense. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They can't get off the field on third down. They don't take the ball away. They really don't have no real pass rush. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, even Kelby Givens, I know he leads the SWAC in sacks. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it's harder for him. Because I'm not gonna lie, truthfully speaking, at times it looks like Kelby Givens and 3 substitute defensive linemen. I know that may sound harsh, it may sound bad, but truthfully speaking, like that's what I see. So, I mean, at times it's hard for him to get pressure. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were a few plays on Saturday where, like, I know one play he got a tackle for a loss, and then another play he was in the backfield. He almost took the handoff, but they ran read option, and he gave it to the running back, and he went to hit the quarterback, and he was on the quarterback. But the problem was the quarterback made the right read, and by the time he actually got in the backfield, it's like, hey. So, I mean, there were a few times I really saw him really get in the backfield. A couple of times he really got pressure, but in many instances, at one point, I felt like teams were really like doubling him, really chipping on him. But it's kind of like at this point, I think I see teams really kind of playing him like straight up, and he's just not really having the impact like he had last season. And like I said, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's difficult when you're playing on a team that's historically bad. A team that's historically bad, a defense that's historically bad. So that's why it's really kind of hard for him to kind of have the impact he had last year, because at least last year there were instances where he could kind of, if he wasn't getting off, I think Willie Miles was decent. Devin Cotton was decent in the middle. And I just felt like there were other players he could really feed off of. But I'm not gonna lie, this defense is bad. And like I said, I hate to pick on people, but Jaden Rogers at defensive tackle, man, teams are just running right at him. I mean, he's huge, but he's just too immobile, and like teams are just running right at him. And somebody said this in the chat, it was like, basically, do I think DeMarion Johnson is good? And I'm not saying he DeMarcus Miller. At no point did I say DeMarion Johnson is DeMarcus Miller. But at the same token, I mean, I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. Like I said, I don't like putting players on the spot because, they're strapping up, you know, they represent Southern University. But Jaden Rogers, man, hey, I feel like he better than him. And like I said, even if you look at somebody like Zach Yusine, and Zach Yusine is a like a redshirt senior, bro. For him to be making some of the plays he making, it's like, come on, bro. Like, and that's the thing about it. Like, even like I think it was for homecoming. Um, like Darren Morris had like a bad, hands to the face penalty. It's like, man, you got a lot of seniors on this team, bro. Like they gotta make better decisions. And like I said, if you just sat back and you looked at Southern's roster, it's like, bro, you got there's more seniors on it than I actually realized that they have. And for you to have this many seniors on your team and just to be this bad, bro, it's like, man, to me, it makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, hopefully they could play better on Saturday. But I don't have no confidence in this team. I really don't see them beating UAPB. And that's bad. You know what I'm saying? Your boy JC, the worst Southern team since 1971. We could go winless at home for the first time in like 50 years. And that's the sad part. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Hopefully I'm wrong. I don't see Southern winning the home game this year. I really don't. I don't see it. And salute to my brother Jerry Lovin Green. Tomorrow we're gonna be over on his channel with HBCU Fanatics. Tomorrow night, essentially 24 hours from now, we're gonna be on his channel in his live stream. Everybody that's in a live chat, be certain to come over to my brother Jared Lovin Green channel tomorrow for HBCU Fanatics. We're gonna talk about Grambling pulling the upset in the Las Vegas Classic. We're gonna talk about injuries to former Southern University starting quarterback Xavier Set and the Jacobian Morgan. And we just gonna talk about, the latest and greatest news and HBCU football, and we're gonna talk about SWAC, MEAC, SIAC, CIAA. We're gonna talk about it all, you know what I'm saying? So be certain to come over to my brother channel tomorrow, Jared Lover Green, for the HBCU Fanatics. He said, salute family. Your boy Jay said Graves was a bad DC under Pete. I really want to know what did the board see in him. Well, I already pointed this out, your boy Jay. That's an excellent point. But Blackwater Bayou pointed this out. As soon as he was hired, Blackwater Bayou said, man, he was a bad defensive coordinator under Pete Richardson. Like, why did they make him the head coach? I'm not going to lie. He pointed that out, and I got to give him, his props and his flowers for that because he pointed that out. And you're right. And like I said, from my understanding, like he was in good with the board. He found favor with them. I don't know how. He knew, from what I understand, they liked him, whatever, and they went with him. And I mean, don't get me wrong. From all accounts I hear, he's a nice guy, but being a nice guy don't win games. I'm unapologetic about that. Hey, this ain't the nice guy league. We need you to win games, especially in Baton Rouge. You saw, guess what? Southern fired him. LSU fired Brian Kelly. So, hey, if you're going to be a head football college coach in Baton Rouge, the expectation is to win. Your boys, they say we losing the UAPB the same way we lost to FAMU. Defense about to get ran off the field. I agree with you 100%. Derek Banks, 5630. He said new coach have to bring in new blood. Yeah, I agree, and that's the thing about it. See, when you bring in a new coach, they're going to want to bring their own players anyway. Whether it's players they're recruiting fresh out of high school, whether it's players they're getting from junior college, or whether it's players they're getting out the portal. Even if they did it in thirds. A third out the portal, a third out of junior college, and a third out of high school. Or even if they say, hey, half out of high school, a fourth out of junior college, a fourth out of the portal. Our new coach going to want to bring his new guys in. So that's why, and especially with a team that's historically bad, man, the turnover rate is going to be extremely high. You'll be lucky if you see 5 players that's currently on Southern University's team on the team next year. I promise you that. And Derek Banks, 5630 said, Banks need to go. He said DSU talk their OC. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to lie. I think when it came, he definitely got to take the heat for hiring Dooley, but he didn't want Graves. Graves was more of a board hire than anything. But whether it's the board, whether it's Banks, I kind of point the finger more at the board because they really haven't got a hire from the initial head coach of Southern, right, sans Pete Richardson. So they definitely really need to get it right. Your boy JC, they keep running the same players out there running the exact same defense, expecting something different. And that's the sad thing about it. I mean, if you keep running those same guys out, in my mind, from a coaching standpoint, what that tells me is the guys that's backups, they're not even playable. So your starters are this bad, that means your backups aren't even playable. And that's the worst part of it all, your boy G. I mean, even somebody like Eric Reed Jr. He was a key player last year, and for this guy not to see the field at all this year, I'm trying to figure: is he hurt? Is he injured? Like what? Like I don't. Maybe I'm missing him, but I don't even see him. So I don't know. Nathaniel Frank, salute to you. He said the sad part: Southern was picked to finish first. I ain't gonna lie, I picked them too. I mean, they were the preseason pick to win the West. I picked them to win the West. And for them to be like Mississippi Valley bad, and the only win you have on the season is against Mississippi Valley, man, that tells you everything you need to know about this team. And at the end of the day, this season has been the worst season I've seen in my lifetime. And I'm not gonna lie, I was going to them Southern games in the 80s, and I think you probably had more people there than now because, salute to Adrian Crook. He pointed this out. He was like, they don't go by how many people was actually in the stands because, they don't have the old school turnstiles no more. They go by the amount of tickets sold. So when they say 17,000 people in attendance, that's cap. That 17,000 is closer to 8,000 or 9,000. So they're going by the amount of tickets sold. So at the end of the day, that's why when y'all see me upload these clips day in and day out, the stands look doggone near empty at A.W. Mumford Stadium. That's the reason being because not that many people were at the game, and I'm not even gonna lie. It's probably gonna be cold for that last home game for senior night. Man, you're gonna be able to play 3 games at A.W. Mumford Stadium. One on the field, one on the east side, and one on the west side. So at the end of the day, this has been very bad, a bad season. Your boy Jay said Eric Reed was in the sling on the sideline. Him and Xavier Spencer are both hurt. But again, this is where recruiting comes in at. He said your second string players gotta be good. And that's the thing about it. For some of them guys that, I was hearing about, some of these guys not even touching the field, your boy Jay. So at the end of the day, that tells me that they're not even playable. And it's obvious by looking at the product on the field that Terrence Graves and his staff has done a terrible job recruiting. But that's it for this episode of the Tailgate Party. I appreciate everybody that came through, that showed some love. I'm like, right at 70 subscribers short of the 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel, like, share. So like, share, subscribe. Trying to get it over the 1,000 subscriber threshold, and I'm trying to do bigger things with the channel. So please, if you've not done so already, subscribe to the channel. Again, tomorrow on my brother Jared 11 Green channel, HBCU Fanatics, we're gonna talk about Southern FAMU. We're gonna talk about different aspects of it. In addition to that, Grambling pulling a huge upset in the Las Vegas Classic over Jackson State, and we're just gonna talk about the latest happenings in the SWAC. You know, the injury status update for ZT Set, for Jacobian Morgan, how Jackson State is gonna fare the rest of the way. And we're just gonna talk about the SWAC, the MEAC, the SIAC, CIAA. We're gonna talk about it all on HBCU Fanatics tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So it's gonna be about 23 hours from now. So be certain to come over to my brother Jared 11 Green channel. Also, man, for my Pittsburgh Steelers fans and for my boxing fans, go over to my brother Brent Fox channel. Check him out. With his show, It's Just Me starring Brent Fox. Also go check out my brother Cadillac Red, Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. Go check out my beloved sister, the beloved Queen Shawala Yah. My brother 7A Sports TV. He has 2 channels, 7A Sports TV and a No 304 show. Man, I'm going to catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings. And go Jags. Yeah, they.